Hey guys, we have some information on what we can expect to receive this week. This is going to be the final reset day. Well, it's not technically going to be the final reset day, but it is going to be the final piece, I think, of new content before Legends Fest. Because next week we'll have a reset day technically, but I don't think they're going to actually put any new content or new data in the game because it'll be just one day before the reveal. So we are about less than a week and a half away from the reveal for Legends Fest Part 1. I thought maybe this week we would be getting a LF Zenkai, but it looks like it is just going to be a 1% character Zenkai here. We'll talk about this in a second. As you guys can probably tell, I am on my mobile setup here. I guess I should just give you guys a bit of a rundown on what's going on. I am not away from home. I'm at home right now. I have a very old PC. I actually ordered a new PC last week, so I am hopeful that it gets here early December. I would hope that it would get here. I don't think it's going to make it here in time for Part 1 of Legends Fest, but it should be here for Part 2, I would hope. Definitely by Part 3 it'll be here. I was just using my PC on my normal setup, that I've used every day for the past 6 years. And, periodically I decide to restart my PC, whether or not there's an update or not. I just typically, maybe like once a week, I'll restart my PC. Sometimes you can feel it getting a little slower. It's an old PC. Restarting sometimes helps it speed up a little bit. So, every week I restart it like once. And that's helped me get a bit of extra performance out of the PC. So I went to restart it. This was yesterday. Is early afternoon yesterday. I went to restart my PC, and I restarted it, and it wouldn't start. So, we got some post codes on the motherboard. I was trying to kind of like fiddle around with it, and took out the GPU, took out some RAM. Took out the NVMe SSD drive from the motherboard, tried to put it all back in, got it all back in, and it didn't fix the problem. So the computer just would not start. So I actually was on a call with Ryuden yesterday and today, because this is actually an issue that happened, if you guys remember, this was an issue that happened, not the same exact issue, but I did have a PC issue relatively recently. I think it must have been 8-9 months ago or something like that, and we ended up fixing it. It was some BIOS thing that happened. This is not the same issue, right? This is not me trying to update my BIOS and kind of breaking my PC. This is me just simply restarting my PC, and I just can't get it to start again. So I've been trying for the past day and a half, essentially. I have been trying to troubleshoot every possible issue that it could possibly be. I didn't touch the PC at all. I just simply restarted it from Windows. And it wasn't a Windows update, no software changed. It was just go into the start menu, hit restart, and that was it. That's it. That's all I did. So I'm trying to flash back the BIOS to prior versions. I'm trying to flash it forward to more up-to-date versions than what it had on it originally. Trying to navigate through all these different postcodes. You unplug one USB, the postcode changes, and it's been a nightmare. So I'm hopeful that eventually we can get this fixed, but I'm stumped. Ryuden, who's much more knowledgeable with technology than me, is also kind of stumped at this point. So I think it's probably best to just proceed, or assume that we are going to be proceeding with this setup for the time being, unless we get lucky, unless we figure something out. But unfortunately, that's the situation that we're in. Again, it's an old PC that I did build myself 6 years ago. So, probably something is wrong with something, but it's worked for 6 years. So, I mean, I did something right with it. But eventually, technology just kind of fizzles out over a long period of time. But I do have a new PC coming, so eventually we'll be able to replace this. But I don't think it'll be here until probably early December. So we have quite a bit of time until then. So this will be the setup that we probably use until then, unfortunately. I obviously still have access to my normal microphone. I will try and figure out a way to get that working with the setup. Um, I don't know if it's even possible, but I'll try my best because this microphone is not bad. This is the microphone I actually initially used when I first started doing YouTube stuff, but obviously doesn't compare to the quality of the other one that I have. So I'm going to try and figure out a way to get that one set up here, but very unfortunate situation because we're about to head into the second biggest celebration of the year, and I just don't have access to my normal setup. I don't have access to my good face cam, my good Elgato. I have the internal Elgato on my normal PC, have the better microphone. I just have a much better peripheral setup with 3 monitors. I have the lighting in here. Like, dude, this is like a professional. I would say this is a professional setup, like the way that I have this set up on my normal setup, my desktop setup. So to not have access to that during the second most important part of the year, it's very unfortunate, but what am I going to do? Cry about it? So we will trek on with this for now, and then when the new PC comes, I'll set it up as soon as possible, and we can try and get back to the better quality here. But unfortunately, this is what we're dealt, and I hope you guys just understand that. Unfortunately, this is the situation I'm in, so I'll do my best here to try and get this fixed. But if we can't get it fixed, and my PC was bricked because I simply tried to restart it, then this is what we have. Okay, so anyway, this is the piece of content we're supposed to be getting this upcoming week. And I did expect some Zenkai this week. Again, I thought it was going to be an LF Zenkai. It was not. And this is a bit of a tough one. Typically, when they give us like the backgrounds of the arts for these characters, it's an almost instant, oh, it's definitely this character, or oh, it's definitely that character. This one's a little tough because there are some parts of this art here that might be one character, but it might not be one character. And this is really the first time where they've given us a hint of like the background art here, where we can't just immediately say for 100% certainty it is this character. More of this art than not matches up with one character in particular, and that character is actually Red Bojack. Red Bojack has a lot of has a lot of similarities. His art has a lot of similarities with this art. So what does Red Bojack mean for Legends Fest Part 1? Because I think this does have something to do with Legends Fest Part 1. Red Bojack probably doesn't just directly mean we're getting a Bojack movie go on for Part 1 of Legends Fest. I think Red Bojack simply just means we are going to get a movies character for Part 1. Now, when you talk about these major celebrations, Legends Fest and Anniversary, Part 1 always has to be a major hitter. It has to be. Always. Always, always, always has to be a major hitter. So that really limits the possibilities that I think this could be. Now, when you talk about movies, I mean, movies has a almost limitless list of different characters that could show up here. But when we're talking about a major celebration Part 1, movies character, I think for me, there's like 3, maybe 4 characters this potentially could be. And if we want to combine this hint of Red Zenkai, I'm going off of the assumption this is Bojack because he is the character that most fits this. I mean, I guess it's possible it's not him, but I'm pretty sure it is Bojack. If we are going off of the assumption that this is Bojack, and we also factor in the Zenkai Purple Vegito Blue Zenkai we got last week, it really does point to a Gogeta of some sort, right? Not Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. It points to either Gogeta from the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, or it points to Super Gogeta from, obviously, Fusion Reborn, the Z movie. I think it probably makes a bit more sense if this was going to be Super Gogeta from Fusion Reborn, and if they are going to be doing Super Gogeta, because they haven't done him in a while, right? We had the original red one, which dropped like the first year of the game. Then we had the green one. In fact, I think we could probably just kind of like search this here. If I just type in, let me just go back here. If I just type in like Gogeta in the search bar, we should be able to see all of the Super Gogetas that we have. We have the first one ever, which was like a few months into the game. This guy dropped in fall of 2018. They made the green one, who was just a 1% sparking on a Ultra Space Time banner. Then the next one we got was Ultra Super Gogetas. There was a pretty big gap in between the releases of this guy and then the Ultra. And then the next one we got was technically not even a standalone Gogeta. It was the Revival Pikkon into Super Gogeta character. And this is the last one we had. This guy is now over 2 years old. So it definitely is time to get a new iteration of this character. And if they are going to give us a new iteration of this character, I think this is a very, very good time to finally reintroduce the Synchro Gauge concept. By the way, just to interject real quick, I did actually have recorded on my now unusable PC a showcase of Blue Gogeta ready to go. Unfortunately, I probably will need to re-record that because I can't access that PC. So I'll probably have that up tomorrow because I can't access it. So I'm gonna have to re-record it and re-upload it on this computer using this setup. But yeah, I think Super Gogeta, a Synchro Gauge, I guess it would be an Angel, Goku, and Vegeta who Synchro Gauge fused into Super Gogeta. It's been a year and a half since the Synchro Gauge was a thing. I think we're due for a Fusion Warrior character. We've really not gotten a Gogeta or Vegito character this entire year. Obviously, the reason is because they spammed them last year, right? That's why. But we are due at this point for sure. He definitely, I think, is a hype enough character to fit the criteria to release for Part 1 of a major celebration. So Super Gogeta, I think, is a strong candidate here for what this Bojack Zenkai could potentially mean. We could also talk about Dragon Ball Super Broly Gogeta. I think he's definitely in the discussion as well. I probably less likely than a Super Gogeta, just because it's been a lot longer that we've not gotten one of these guys. But Dragon Ball Super Broly Gogeta, I mean, we could honestly just get a Super Saiyan version of the character. We don't even need to get a blue version. I mean, blue is more hype, obviously, because he's the stronger form. But any kind of Dragon Ball Super Broly movie Gogeta, I think, is probably enough to fit the bill for Part 1 of the major celebration. Just a very, very popular character. The next character I want to talk about is actually going to be Dragon Ball Super Broly. Definitely a character, if I just type Broly here, way, 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 way overdue for a new Dragon Ball Super Broly. This is the last premium version of this character we got back in 2020. We are about to be 5 years off from this character releasing, and that's it. That's all we got for Dragon Ball Super Broly. So, yeah, definitely can see potentially like a transforming version of this guy as an LF. In my concept that I released about a week and a half ago for Legends Fest, I did have a multi-transformation Broly. So he'd start out as Wrathful Broly, or I guess this game calls him Fury Broly. And then he'd go from Fury Broly into Super Saiyan Broly. And then he'd go from Super Saiyan Broly into Full Power Broly. So he'd transform twice. Which they definitely could do that now that we've had like the RAM update. They can afford to do that. But yeah, I think a Broly is definitely on the table. And then the last character I want to talk about, probably a little bit less likely than the others, but I'm never going to count him out either. He's one of those characters that, once you get to a certain degree of hype for a character, you can never really fully write them off. And it's going to be a Beast Gohan. Right, Beast Gohan's a movie's character. He's the newest form for Gohan. They potentially could do a tag Beast Gohan Orange Piccolo. I think a lot of people probably are kind of Beast Gohan out at this point, considering we've had 3 consecutive years in a row where we've gotten Beast Gohan all basically at or around Legends Fest. Right, the first Beast Gohan dropped right before Legends Fest. The next Beast Gohan, the red one, dropped Part 1 of Legends Fest, and then the next one, which was the Ultra, dropped Part 3 of Legends Fest. So they're kind of all the Beast Gohan releases are congregating around this like end of year celebration. So it would be kind of, at this point, I would consider it to be a little bit redundant, a little bit repetitive if they did give us a Beast Gohan here. But if they combine it with Orange Piccolo, make it a tag character, maybe give him some kind of like new mechanic, I think it could be really cool. But I think if I had to choose here, the hand points most clearly, at least in my opinion, to a Super Gogeta. If we combine both the Bojack hint and the Vegito Blue hint for the Zenkai characters, right? Because Bojack, I think, just means movies. I think is what that means. Bojack, by the way, is an interesting pick because this character was very good back when he dropped. I think it's the U, yeah. Back when this guy dropped, this is one of the characters actually that dropped alongside the Purple Revival Gohan, who still has not gotten a Zenkai Awakening. It would be kind of, well, I feel like they probably should have done this, where they probably should have just dropped that Gohan Zenkai now instead of Bojack's, because that revival Purple Gohan is now the oldest non-Zenkai'd LF character in the game. So at some point soon, I would have to imagine he's going to Zenkai. He's 4.5 years old. At some point, he's going to have to Zenkai Awaken, probably during this fest, I would imagine. If they do part 1, where at least one of the 2 characters that releases is movies related, which it definitely looks like it's going to be the case, I would have to imagine that Gohan will Zenkai. But this Bojack was very good. He was pretty tanky. He has an interesting transformation. He actually utilizes the Awakened Arts card, the purple Arts card, to transform. And he actually removes Vanish with the main. Reduce enemies Vanish to 0%. He draws the Awakened Arts card Galactic Blaster. And it's actually a transformation that's tied into an attack, which I actually don't think exists on any other character we've ever seen. So this is the only character in the game ever that has a transformation plus attack in the same card. So yeah, I mean, what you used to do was you used to use a strike card with a different character, enter the battlefield with Bojack, use his main ability, remove the opponent's Vanish, and then you just launched the Awakened card. And what would happen is it would count as a drop combo. So the Awakened card would do 0 combo. It would hit the opponent as if you had 0 combo compensation, reducing the damage of your card. So your card would do full damage without combo compensation, and you would transform into the full power version of this character. And he was really good. He did good damage. He tanked well. He was just all around a really strong unit. And I think this could be an interesting Zenkai Awakening. A lot of the 1% Zenkais recently have not been too good. I think Vegeta Blue is solid. I don't think even him, I would say, probably isn't up to the level that we still need these 1% Zenkais to be at, but he's at least interesting in some way. So, you know, if Bojack could be at least as good as the purple Vegeta Blue, that could be helpful for his teams, right? He's on movies and powerful opponent. What else? That's probably it, right? Yeah, I mean, this guy's not on a ton of teams. Powerful opponent and movies. That's really it. So, but yeah, he could be good, I think. If they really are trying to build movies back up to being like a really strong team. It's got some good tools right now. Obviously, 13 is the one that comes to mind. We have 13. We have the Gambas with their equip. Zenkai Red Cooler is okay. Metal Cooler, I mean, maybe if they focus on movies, they could give him a unique equip, potentially. They did the one for Fusion Zamasu. But yeah, that's looking to be what the content is going to be this week. I don't expect there to be really much else because we already had PvP reset last week. We had co-op reset last week. We had Ultra Space Time Rush reset last week. The only other thing they could realistically do this week is drop another unique equip, but we, again, also did just get a unique equip last week for Kid Goku. So they really just dropped a ton of stuff last week, so I don't... This probably is going to be a pretty quiet week. And then remember, again, next week's reset is going to be nothing. So we have about a span of 9-ish days from right now that are going to be pretty quiet. So just, you know, brace yourselves for that because that's not uncommon. That's usually what we see going into these big celebrations. Of course, I think what will happen is... we'll see this week. I think what will happen is we'll get the data download, and it'll have like the countdown for Legends Fest. So it'll have, you know, the past Legends Fest characters. It'll be like purple UI Goku, and then like it'll go from in order, right? Blue Gogeta will be on it. And I'll do videos on all those characters. I usually like to do those, like the countdown showcase characters. But yeah, we're almost here, almost there at Legends Fest 2025. Hopefully, it's an exciting one. Let me know down below what you guys think of. It looks like Red Bojack Zenkai Awakening. Once again, I'm going to try my best to fix this PC issue, but if it doesn't work out, I'm going to try and make this setup work. Definitely not the position I'd want to be in for Legends Fest this year. I would like access to my setup that's 9 times better than this, but I'm going to do my best, guys. That's all I can do. That's all I can do. So, hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next one.